Hey, how's it going? So, I am back from Christmas break and it was a fun time. I kind of checked out for a little bit and spent some quality time with the kids, worked on some business stuff, some like business planning and stuff like that. So, it was a really good season and we went through the new year and I am ready to hit the ground running. I am so excited for 2023. If nothing else, I just feel like the new year is just a way to pause and just be like, hey, you know what? No matter what happened last year, or even if it was like the last week of 2022, it's a new year. Like it's new, right? So we're starting over. So I think it's a good reset. It's a good time to have. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to it. All right, to kick off the new year, I wanted to start with how to hire your realtor. Coming from a realtor. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
All right, so how do you hire a realtor? You would be amazed at the things that I hear people say when they tell me how they hired their fill the blank professional. Okay, sometimes it's, oh, I saw a funny video they posted, or it's just like, oh, I just picked the first person that showed up when I Googled. That's a horrible idea. So, I always joke with, maybe I shouldn't tell people this, but I always joke that, some of the not smartest agents are the most successful. Yeah, I said it. So the reason that is they may have a great marketing strategy, but they're not necessarily that great at being a realtor. They're great at marketing, but not great at realtoring. I just made up a word there. Sorry. Anyways, so I'm going to hit a couple key points here about what you need to do when you're hiring a realtor. I feel this, pretty much across the board, any market that you're in, wherever you're at, it doesn't matter. I feel like these are some of the big ones that you want to hit. Do not just go and pick the first person. Do not pick the funniest video you saw. They may be great at relationships, but they may be not the greatest realtor. And they might get you into a sticky situation. 9 times out of 10, or maybe let's just say 7 out of 10 times, maybe that not so great realtor was okay. But sometimes when problems arise, you need the realtor that had the experience, that knew what they were doing. So let's get to it. All right. Obviously, experience was going to be the first one on my list. And actually, I want to go back because I know 90% of you are only going to watch this for 30 seconds. So let me go back and hit with my thing that everyone should do no matter what. Interview 3 people. Interview them. Then, after you interview them, I want you to ask these questions that I'm going to tell you about, okay? So, the first, you want to hit on experience. How long have you been a realtor? How long have you been a full-time realtor? Even me, I like to hit on that one, okay? So, I'm going to tell you my little secret. I've been a realtor for 11 years. That sounds great. I worked for another company those first 2 years, so still 9 years. But when I first left the company, I used those 2 years that I had a license as my experience, even though I was not a full-time realtor. So that hits my next point. Are you a full-time realtor? Because I'm going to tell you, when I was a part-time realtor, no, it just doesn't work. I'm sorry. It doesn't. It just doesn't work. If you have a full-time job, being a realtor on the side, it's not great. You can't service your clients the way that you need to. And I'm saying that from experience because I did it. And I need to go back and apologize to all the people I helped buy houses those first couple of years because I did not give them the service or the attention that I should have. The other thing is like when you get a realtor that has, multiple years of experience, you're going to get someone who has seen a lot of different scenarios and can most likely guide you through pretty much anything that happens. Okay. So the next thing you want to find out is what price point do they typically work in? If you are working for someone or working with someone, if you have $1 million house and this person typically only works in $100,000 houses, they might not be the right person for you because that's not their niche. It's definitely different selling a $1 million house versus selling a $100,000 house. I unfortunately have been, I think my lowest sales price was like $50,000 and my highest is like 1.4 million. So it's a very wide range there. But there was a reason for that. That's not important to this conversation. And so, so you want to make sure that, if you're working in a certain price range, that the person is comfortable. On the flip side of that, $100,000 buyer has different needs than $1 million buyer. The $100,000 buyer and the $200,000 and even sometimes the $300,000, believe it or not, they're talking about, hey, can I use ship loans? Is there down payment assistant programs? Can I ask for closing costs? There's different needs for different types of buyers. So you need to make sure that the realtor you hire is experienced in the area that you are looking in. Okay? Whatever your situation is, make sure that they're experienced with that. Do not hire a realtor because you like them. I really hope that somebody people love me. Like, I want to be a likable person. But, sometimes that's not the most important thing. Sometimes you need to get the person who maybe you don't like as much, but they have more experience. They are going to be at it more. They're going to be fitting your needs more so than the person you like. I hope that makes sense. Also, you want to make sure that the realtor you hire has a good network of service providers that you can tap into. So one of the things that I obviously market, I say, hey, this is something I can provide, is I've done all the legwork and hiring contractors and handyman and home inspectors and insurance agents and all this stuff, all the things that you need when you're buying a house or selling a house. I've done it. I've vetted these people. I use them all the time. So do I have a vast network of people and professionals that my customers can use to either get their home ready to sell or, during the buying process? So you want to make sure they have a good network. You want somebody local. Do not hire the agent that is 2 hours away, even an hour. I mean, at the max, an hour. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if they're your aunts or even your mom. They don't know your market. Okay? They don't know your market. I will tell you how many times I have seen agents list properties in Gainesville, where I live, and I'm like, whoa, what were they thinking? Because the marketing is all wrong. The pricing is all wrong. Everything is wrong. Or I have a listing and I get the buyer, the agent who calls me and says, hi, I have a buyer that I want to show this house, but I can't be in Gainesville until Saturday, which is like 3 or 4 days away. Okay, well, that's great, but we already have like 3 offers on the house and our offer deadline is tonight. Yeah. So that's what happens when you have an agent that's far away, especially as a buyer, and even as a seller. Hi, I'm a buyer. I want to see the house. Well, I can't show you until Thursday. And it's Sunday, whatever, And they're like, well, a buyer. I'm only in town today. I was here. I was looking at other properties. I wanted to see this one. At that point, you might ask them why they're not talking to the realtor they had already spoke to, but I'm just giving you an example. Okay. Next, what does their contract say? How long are you going to be obligated to this person? If you decide that this person, wow, I made a huge mistake, this person sucks, what happens if I need to fire you? So I actually encourage people when I meet them to fire me if they're not happy. I've never been fired. I think I would probably cry if somebody fired me, but I have a 0 cancellation on my contracts, and I go even further and say, you can fire me if you're not happy. So yes, I have 3 or 6 month contracts, but if you're not happy, you can cancel it. No cancellation fees. If your realtor is not offering that to you, they're insecure about what they are offering you, and they're insecure about the services they're providing. The reason I do that is because of my past experiences with customers who have worked with other realtors that were not so great. Okay. So, make sure you're comfortable with the contract you're signing. Read the contract. Okay. Read the contract. Please, for the love of God, somebody read a contract. I can't tell you how many people, I'm going to go over the contract with you. No, I don't need to. Yes, you do. You need to read the contract. Come on. Read that contract. You're signing away your most valuable, likely your most valuable asset that you will ever own, and you're not reading the contract? Why? Why would you do that? There's a company in Florida and locally that is putting liens on people's houses based off their listing agreements, because their listing agreement is for 40 years or something like that. So what they do is they get the listing agreement, put the lien on the house, and they have to pay that realtor whenever they sell, next 40 years. Read your contract. I can guarantee you that the people who signed those contracts did not sign it with someone they didn't like. They liked that person. That's why they signed the contract. That was the most likable person they have ever met. Right? Why else did they sign the contract without reading it? And if they didn't understand it, get an attorney. You can actually Florida's not an attorney state, but you can hire an attorney to help you interpret those contracts. Okay? So, is it about them, the realtor? Is it about the realtor, or is it about you? If they're talking about themselves a lot, it's not about you, it's about them. Okay? So you want to make sure that the listing agent or the buyer's agent has you as their priority. What's important to you? What do you need? Okay? Reviews. Just it takes 5 seconds. Obviously, everyone, actually I don't, but a lot of people fluffs their reviews or whatever, but it is what it is. Google is not a great source for reviews. Your tried and true and trusted review sources, this is the one thing I think Zillow gets right, is reviews. So I know I've talked about Zillow before. You know my opinion, but Zillow is very strict on how they accept reviews, and it's really not that easy. You have to have a match transactions up to people, and you can't have 100 people reviewing you and you've only sold one house, because it links with the MLS system. So that's a red flag to Zillow. So Zillow is probably pretty good at the reviews. They're pretty accurate. So I would say that Zillow is a good place to look for reviews for your agent. Yelp is another place, but they don't tie the review to the transaction. But they do scan for irregularities on where the source of the lead came from. I think I pretty much hit this. So if you forget everything else I said, make sure you interview 3 people. 3 people, okay? Also, a few other things to hit on. How many customers are they working with at the same time? How many listings do they have? How many other customers will they be taking on? Are they spending all their time gaining more customers or working to sell your home and to help you buy a home? Okay, then what marketing is included in the commissions? What are the commissions? Are there any other fees that I'm being charged in addition to the commissions, right? And how many homes did you sell last year? How often will you communicate with me? Will you help me get my house ready to sell? All of these things are important. Oh, big one. I forgot this one. Am I going to be working with you or somebody else with your team? Who am I going to be working with throughout this process? Because you would find a lot of teams that the team leader will come hook you because that's what they're good at. And then you will never see that person again, ever again. You'll go through the whole thing. If you get to the closing table, you still won't see them. They might show up at the closing table so they can collect their commission check. But honestly, make sure you find out who you're going to be working with. So that's pretty much the gist of it. If you have questions, you can always hit me in the chat down below. You can reach out to me. You know my number, 352-559 home or 4663. I love that our number is home at the end. But anyways, sorry, that's completely irrelevant. Listen, I hope you love this conversation I'm having. I actually prefer conversations over me just kind of so I would love to, if you're a buyer or a seller and you want to get on here and ask me questions, and be able to talk through things, I would love to do that. So let me know. I really, really hope y'all have a fantastic 2023 and that you had a great Christmas and holiday season. All right. Bye.